Alright guys, welcome back or welcome to Running for Views. Today we're going to talk about someone who has kind of flown under the radar, you know, not a lot of people have heard about her. Just a little person named Courtney freaking Dauwalter. You ever heard of her? Hello? Alright guys, so that's right. Today we are talking about Courtney Dauwalter. So today guys, we're not just going to talk about Courtney Dauwalter's best races, but we're going to talk about her best course records because that's how many races she's won. That's how freaking amazing she is. We had to narrow it down to her best course records, not just her greatest races or anything like that. Her best course records. Alright, so before we get into it, let's just get into some Courtney Dauwalter lore. So she was born on February 13th, 1985 in Hopkins, Minnesota, which makes a lot of sense because if you know Courtney, you know that she has that Minnesota nice strong in her veins. So in high school, she did track, cross country, and Nordic skiing like all the greats do. So after high school, she got a scholarship to the University of Denver for cross-country skiing. And then from there, she completed her schooling with a master's in education from the University of Mississippi in 2010. And it was in Mississippi where she actually signed up for her first marathon and completed it in a time of 3 hours and 18 minutes. So after completing her master's, she moved to San Antonio, Texas for a teaching job where she signed up for her first ultra marathon, the Prickly Pear 50K. And the rest is pretty much history. She signed a deal with Salomon in 2017 and has been competing professionally ever since. So that's just a little background on Courtney. Now let's get into her top 10 course records. Number 10, Bandera 100K. So let's start off with a race from this year. On January 7th, 2023, Courtney broke the course record at the Bandera 100K with a time of 8 hours and 59 minutes. She beat the previous course record by 9 minutes that was set by Stephanie Howe in 2017. This is also the race that Courtney Dauwalter got a golden ticket for the Western States 100 for 2023, which of course we'll talk about a little later. So the Bandera 100K has taken place every year since 2003. It's located in Bandera, Texas, and consists of two 50-kilometer loops, and it has about 7,000 feet of elevation gain. So Courtney completed the first loop in just 4 hours and 14 minutes, which comes out to about 8 minutes per mile. Her overall pace for this race came out to be about an 8 minute and 42 second per mile split. Number 9, Javelina 100K. Alright guys, so sticking to loop courses, let's talk about the Javelina 100-kilometer race that she did. So she did this race on October 29th, 2016, and not only did she get the course record in this race, but she won the race overall. And she did it in a time of 8 hours and 48 minutes. And she won by over an hour. She beat all the men, all the women by an hour. And also she beat the men's course record time by 20 minutes that had stood for 6 years. So the Javelina 100 course consists of 3 loops of 20 miles and has about 3,300 feet of elevation gain. And on this particular day where she beat the course record, it was over 95 degrees during the day when she was racing. Also for me, this race really proves that Courtney can do everything from flat to mountains. She can do it all. Her average pace for this race was about 8 minutes and 48 seconds per mile, which is just crazy. Number 8, Le Grand Raid de la Réunion. So on October 20th, 2022, she took down yet another course record by over 2 hours and finished 4th place overall. So this course has over 31,600 feet of elevation gain and is known to be one of the hardest 100-mile race courses in the world. And she finished it in a time of 24 hours and 37 minutes. So this course traverses Reunion Island and has extremely technical trails, lots of stairs, gets down to almost freezing at night, and gets into the 80s during the day. So she completed this race at about a 14-minute and 46-second mile pace, which is extremely impressive considering the technical trails and elevation profile of this race. Number 7, Madeira Island Ultra Trail 115. Now let's talk about another island ultra, the Madeira Island Ultra Trail 115 kilometer race. So on April 23rd, 2022, Courtney took down a record that was set in 2016 by Caroline Chevreau. She got a time of 14 hours and 40 minutes, beating the previous course record by a time of about 20 minutes. And this course is a tough one. This course traverses the island of Madeira in about 115 kilometers or about 71.5 miles and has about 24,600 feet of elevation gain. Another cool thing about this course record is that on this year where she broke the course record, Jim Walmsley also broke the men's course record. Also, comment below if you want me to do Jim Walmsley best course records because, like Courtney, there are plenty of races to choose from. Number 6. Tahoe 200 Endurance Run. So who can forget Courtney Dauwalter's amazing Tahoe 200 course record, where on September 7, 2018, she beat the course record by 18 hours. 18 hours. I mean, it was 200 miles, but 18 hours? That's insane. Angie was so close to winning the race overall and getting the overall course record. She led this race for 180 miles. Out of 200, she led for 180 miles. That's just insane. But she did get passed by Kyle Curtin, who went on to win the race, but just by 30 minutes. In the end, Courtney got a course record time of 49 hours and 54 minutes. Courtney also said that during this race, she felt sick from the very start of the race and that she basically had to grind through the entire 200 miles of the race. To this day, she still holds the Tahoe 200 record by over 10 hours. So a little bit about the Tahoe 200. It's a 200-mile course. It has over 36,800 feet of elevation gain, and runners have a cutoff time of 4 days to complete this race. And Courtney finished this race in just 2.5 days at about a 15-minute per mile pace. 15-minute mile for 50 hours, that's crazy. Number 5, Moab 240. All right guys, so we are halfway through this video. If you like it so far, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. So on October 13th, 2017, Courtney did a race that really put her on the next level, the Moab 240. Now this is the race that is said to have got her the Salomon sponsor that she still has to this day. So on this course record, she got a time of 57 hours and 55 minutes and beat everyone else in the race by 10 hours. Men, women, everyone she beat by 10 hours. So now this was the first year of the race, so there was nothing really to compare it to. However, till this day, she still holds the women's course record by over 11 hours. And she still has the 4th fastest time in the race's history. And the current course record holder only beat her time by 2 hours. 2 hours over 240 miles is not that much time. And in my opinion, if Courtney went back to this race this year, she would crush her old time and the current course record. So the Moab 240 is a 240-mile race around Moab, Utah. And it has over 31,500 feet of elevation gain. And this race is not like in the beautiful mountains of Utah that Utah is so famous for. It's basically held in the desert. So from the research that I've done on this race, it seems like this race is just like a lot of never-ending dirt roads for as far as you can see, and it just sounds like my personal hell. Her pace during this race was 14 minutes and 30 seconds per mile, which is just insane to think about. It's like Courtney Dauwalter is one of those like wind-up toys where you just wind her up and she can basically go at a 15-minute mile forever, basically. Number 4, Big's Backyard. So on October 17th, 2020, Courtney tied the overall course record for Big's Backyard Ultra. So if you don't know what Big's Backyard Ultra is, I'll give you a little synopsis. It's a 4.2 mile loop that you do forever. Well, as long as you can, but basically for Courtney, forever. And that's it. It's just a never-ending race for as long as you can endure the 4.2 mile loop every hour. So in 2020, Courtney tied the overall record with 283 miles or 68 laps. So that means that she went for 68 hours. That's almost 3 days of running. She said that she was getting 8 to 10 minute naps per loop for the second and third nights, which equates to about 2.5 hours of sleeping. That's insane. And in this race, it doesn't really matter your pace because you just go 4.2 miles every hour. So you could run the 4.2 mile loop as fast or slow as you want to do it, just as long as you finish in under an hour. So till this day, Courtney still holds the women's course record by over 30 miles, or about 8 hours of running, which is just crazy. Number 3, UTMB. All right guys, so as we get into the top 3, this is where it gets really crazy. So on October 27th, 2021, she broke the course record by just 6 minutes in a time of 22 hours and 30 minutes. So this was her second UTMB win, but she did break a course record that had stood since 2013. So I think that breaking an 8-year-old course record is pretty amazing. And for anyone who doesn't know what UTMB is, you live under a rock. UTMB is known to be the pinnacle of ultra running, so getting a course record at this race is very impressive. So UTMB is a race around the iconic Mount Blanc, which is the highest mountain in Western Europe. The race has over 32,700 feet of elevation gain in 100 miles, which means that Courtney was averaging about a 13-minute and 30-second pace for 100 miles. Also in 2021, the race is about 2 kilometers longer than it was back in 2013. So that's like another 13.5 minutes that can be added on to her course record time, which is just crazy. Also, Courtney is running UTMB this year, just a couple days after me posting this video, and I think that she'll definitely get a new course record time, breaking her own course record. Number 2, Hardrock 100. So Courtney holds the course record for the Hardrock 100 in 2022 and in 2023. And the reason for that is every year the Hardrock 100 switches which direction they go in. So in 2022, Courtney broke the clockwise course record in a time of 26 hours and 44 minutes, breaking the 2010 course record by over 2 hours. Then this year in 2023, she broke the counterclockwise course record in a time of 26 hours and 14 minutes, beating the old course record that was set back in 2009 by over an hour. So what makes the 2023 course record so amazing is that she did this just 20 days after getting the course record at Western States 100. So I think the Hardrock is probably the 3rd most popular 100-mile race in the world, just after UTMB and Western States. And this race is in a league of its own. So the whole race is about an average elevation of 11,000 feet above sea level and tops out at 14,000 feet and has a total of 33,200 feet of elevation gain during the race. So in 2022, Courtney finished 6th place overall in this race, and then in 2023, she finished 4th overall in this race. And in 2023, she was so close to making the podium. She was in podium position for over 100 miles of a 102-mile race. I'm not lying to you when I say I was literally screaming at the live cam, just begging Courtney to go a little faster to make that podium spot. In the end, she missed the podium by just 2 minutes, which is so sad. But what an amazing race she had. So in the end, her pace for both of these races are just around 16 minutes per mile, which is just insane to think about. Number 1, Western States 100. All right guys, so for me, this is Courtney's number 1 course record that she has ever set, and let's get into why. So at this year's Western States on June 24th, 2023, Courtney beat a course record that has really stood the test of time. She finished 6th overall in a time of 15 hours and 29 minutes. And she beat Ellie Greenwood's course record by over an hour that was set in 2012. All right, so let's break that down. She beat a course record that had been set over a decade ago by over an hour on one of the most iconic 100-mile courses. Like, that is just crazy. And the 2012 course record, no one's even gotten close to breaking that course record, and she broke it by over an hour. So the Western States 100 is the first ever 100-mile race and started back in 1977. It's a 100-mile race through the Sierra Nevada mountain range and has over 18,000 feet of elevation gain. Not only that, it's also one of the most competitive races in all of ultra running. Some of the greats like Kilian Jornet and Jim Walmsley and just amazing ultra runners have all won here. So when Courtney broke the course record, she did it at about a 9-minute and 18-second per mile split, which is, for the 100 miles, a 9-minute pace, like, that's insane. All right, guys, so that wraps up Courtney Dauwalter's top 10 course records. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Courtney is literally one of the legends of our sport, and I just think that she is one of the greatest people, one of the coolest athletes to ever exist. She is such an inspiration to me, and I cannot wait to see her race UTMB in just a couple of days. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!